he is silent again. An hour, a day, a week. This silence rings in your ears louder than any scream, doesn't it? You sit there, replaying every word, every step in your mind. What did I do wrong? This question becomes your jailer. It locks you in a cage of doubt and guilt while the world around continues its race. And you are frozen, waiting. And what if I told you that this silence isn't just resentment? Not just, that's how he is. He needs time. Not just an uncommunicative introvert. What if it's a cold, calculated weapon? Yes, you heard me right. An incredibly powerful weapon aimed directly at your heart, at your self-esteem, at the very core of your being. Hello, my dears. My name is Amanda, and today we're going to peek behind the curtain of this theater of silence. We'll dissect why his silence might not be just a character trait, but a sophisticated form of control, and, yes, I'm not afraid to say it, psychological abuse. I don't want to scare you. I want you to know, so that you are armed with this knowledge, because knowledge is the first, most important step towards freedom, towards understanding what is really happening, not what they are trying to make you believe. The renowned psychologist, Dr. George Simon, author of the international bestseller In Sheep's Clothing, has dedicated his life to studying manipulators and their tactics. And his conclusions about the so-called silent treatment are simply staggering. They expose the true motives of those who use silence as a club. Today, we'll dig deep. What really lies behind his ignoring you? Why does it hurt so much, throw you off balance so completely? And most importantly, how to react so as not to lose in this cruel, exhausting game. Stay with me, because what you learn might forever change your perspective on relationships. And, more importantly, on yourself. So, let's get to the bottom of this. What is this silent treatment? At first glance, well, a person is silent, so what? Maybe he's in a bad mood, maybe he's genuinely tired and wants to be alone. Of course, each of us has the right to solitude, to time for reflection. But today, we're talking about something else. About silence that becomes a system. About silence that is used deliberately. The key difference between manipulative silence and a healthy need for quiet is its function. Healthy silence is a breather, a way to recover. Manipulative silence is an action, a message, a statement. And here are its markers. Duration. This isn't half an hour or an hour. It can be days, weeks, and in particularly severe cases, even months of icy ignoring. Context. Most often, it arises after a conflict, your attempt to assert boundaries, express disagreement, or even a simple request. It's used as punishment for incorrect behavior. Ignoring attempts at dialogue. You try to talk, to apologize, even if you don't understand for what, to find out the reason, but you hit a wall. Your words seem to vanish into thin air. Demonstrativeness. He might actively communicate with others but pointedly ignore you. This emphasizes that the silence is directed specifically at you. Imagine you're trying to talk, to explain your position, and he's sitting next to you, looking right through you as if you're not there. Or he demonstratively puts on headphones when you start speaking. Or, even worse, he answers questions from other people in the room, completely ignoring your presence. This isn't him being tired. This is an active message. You are not important. Your feelings are nothing. Your opinion doesn't matter. You are being punished. Dr. George Simon, in his work, emphasizes precisely that such tactics belong to covert aggression. Why covert? Because outwardly, the aggressor isn't doing anything wrong. He's not shouting, not breaking dishes, not insulting directly. He's just silent. And try proving that this is a form of abuse. But the damage inflicted by such behavior is enormous. It's an underhanded blow that leaves deep, invisible wounds. Exactly. Manipulative silence isn't about being offended, It's about power. It's a potent tool of control and punishment. Its goal is to make the partner feel guilty, inadequate, dependent, to force them to change their behavior to suit the manipulator, to make any concessions, just so this icy silence stops. It's a kind of conditioning through silence. Look how it works. You do something the partner doesn't like. For example, you express your opinion, meet a friend he dislikes, ask for help. In response, a wall of silence. Not just silence, but cold, detached ignoring. You start to agonize, look for the cause in yourself, apologize, try to please him. At some point, when the manipulator decides you've learned your lesson, he might graciously start talking. The next time, you'll think thrice before doing what caused such a reaction. Bingo. Control is established. George Simon constantly emphasizes that the manipulator's main goal is victory, maintaining power and control over another person, while avoiding any responsibility for their destructive actions or words. Silence is perfectly suited for this purpose. It allows them to dominate without entering into open confrontation where they might be called to account. Remember how, after such prolonged silence, you're ready to do anything just for him to speak again? Just for this torture of uncertainty, this oppressive vacuum, to end. That's how control works. You pay with your freedom, your opinion, your desires for crumbs of his favor. Many women who encounter such behavior ask themselves, "Why do I feel so bad? I'm an adult, strong woman. Why does some silence throw me off so much?" The answer lies in the deep mechanisms of our psyche. Rejection is social death. We are social beings. The need for acceptance, for connection with other people, is basic. Studies show that the brain perceives social rejection, such as being ignored, in the same way as physical pain. The very same areas of the brain are activated. Can you imagine? For our ancient brain, being rejected by the pack meant certain death, and this fear still lives within us. A partner's silence is a form of rejection, and it causes real pain, uncertainty, and loss of control. When a person is silent without explaining the reasons, you are left in complete limbo. What's happening? Is it because of me? How long will this last? What can I do? This uncertainty is a powerful stressor. It's like being in a dark room, not knowing where the blow will come from, and unable to turn on the light. The loss of control over the situation, the inability to influence it. This is a direct path to anxiety and even depression. Devaluation and guilt. Through his silence, the manipulator non-verbally conveys, "You did something terrible. You are unworthy of my attention." And the victim, especially if prone to self-blame, begins to believe it. Maybe I really did say something wrong? Maybe I'm overreacting? Maybe I provoked him? Sound familiar? This internal dialogue erodes self-esteem, makes you doubt yourself, your sanity. You are literally made to feel like the cause of all troubles. Loss of identity. If such silent treatment becomes the norm in a relationship, a woman gradually loses herself. Her emotions, desires, needs are pushed to the background. She is constantly tense, trying to guess her partner's mood to avoid another punishment. Her world narrows down to attempts to regain his favor. This is a path to the destruction of personality, to losing oneself. We will return to how exactly uncertainty and imposed guilt destroy our psyche when we talk about counter strategies. For now, let's look at how to recognize that your partner's silence is not just a bad mood, but part of a larger, more dangerous game. To effectively counter manipulation, you first need to recognize it. George Simon, in his works, provides very clear guidelines that help see the true face of the manipulator behind the mask of offense or reticence. Let's consider the key warning signs when it comes to silence. The first and most important sign is repetition. If your partner occasionally needs quiet after a hard day, that's one thing. But if his silence becomes a regular response to any of your attempts to discuss problems, express disagreement, or simply to situations where he doesn't feel on top, this is already a pattern. It's a system. Moreover, as Simon emphasizes, manipulators rarely use only one technique. Silence is just one tool in their extensive arsenal. Pay attention to whether his silence is combined with other forms of manipulation. Gaslighting. You imagined it. You're making things up. I never said, did that. Denial. Complete denial of the problem or his role in it. Blame shifting. You drove me to this. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be silent. Minimizing your feelings. You're too sensitive. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. If after every disagreement or request of yours, he withdraws into himself for several days and then returns as if nothing happened, expecting you to apologize and make amends, this is a huge red flag. This is not a healthy relationship. It's conditioning. Another very telling point is the selectivity of silence. Have you noticed that with other people, friends, colleagues, relatives, he can be quite sociable, cheerful, and pleasant, even if 5 minutes ago he was ignoring you? And to your question, asked in the presence of others, he answers curtly or pretends not to have heard. This is a very important diagnostic sign. It shows that silence is not an innate characteristic of his personality, that he's not just naturally uncommunicative, but a conscious choice, a tactic applied specifically to you. It's a demonstration. Look, I'm open to others, but not to you. You don't deserve it. This is another way to humiliate and control. What is this, if not a demonstration of power and contempt? Remember, we said that the manipulator's goal is not to resolve the conflict, but to win it, to make you submit. Therefore, he will avoid constructive dialogue in every possible way. Any of your attempts to clarify the situation, to find a compromise, will hit a wall. He may remain silent, evade answers, change the subject. George Simon explains this by the fact that manipulators are terrified of responsibility and direct confrontation, where their true motives and tactics might be exposed. Covert aggression, such as silence, is much safer for them. It allows them to feel clean because they aren't doing anything bad, just being silent. And the fact that their silence drives you to distraction is, according to their logic, your problem. Sometimes, to enhance the effect of their silence and your guilt, the manipulator might start playing the victim. He doesn't just stay silent. He also demonstratively suffers. This can be heavy sighs, a pained look, complaints about how bad he feels, without explaining the reasons, of course. The goal of this game is to make you feel even more guilty. Look what you've done to me, I feel so bad because of you. And now you're not just trying to get a word out of him, but also feeling like a monster, causing suffering to this poor, unfortunate person. This is a very insidious trick that pulls you deeper into the web of guilt and self-flagellation. And finally, the most obvious sign. The silence ends only when you completely capitulate. When you apologize, often without even understanding for what. Promise not to do it again. Fully acknowledge his rightness and your mistake. As soon as he feels that you are broken and ready for anything, the ice wall may melt. He might even become nice and attentive for a while, until the next time. This reinforces a conditioned reflex in you. To regain his favor, I must surrender. And so, exhausted by this torture, depleted and desperate, you are ready for anything, just for this nightmare of uncertainty and rejection to end. Painfully familiar, isn't it? This pain is a signal that something is going wrong, a signal that it's time to stop being a victim and start acting. Okay, we've understood what manipulative silence is, why it hurts so much, and how to recognize it. Now, the most important question: what to do? How to react so as not to lose in this cruel game, to protect yourself and your dignity. This part is the most important because it's about your strength, about reclaiming control over your life. The first and most fundamental thing you need to do is to realize his silence is his choice, his responsibility, his way of manipulating. It is not your fault. Stop replaying your words and actions in your head. Stop looking for the cause in yourself. You are not responsible for his decision to use silence as a weapon. Stop playing by his rules, where you are always to blame. Once you truly realize this, you will take a huge step towards liberation. The manipulator is waiting for your reaction. Tears, pleas, apologies, fussing around him. Your despair is his fuel, confirmation of his power. So, do not give him this fuel. Do not beg him to talk. Do not apologize endlessly for things you are not guilty of. Or even if you are, one sincere apology is enough. Days of begging for forgiveness is too much. Do not fuss around him, trying to guess his desires. Do not show how much it hurts you. Although this is difficult, instead of asking every 5 minutes, "What happened? Are you upset?" Please, talk to me. Say calmly and firmly once, "I see you don't want to talk right now. I respect your wish to be alone. When you're ready for a constructive dialogue, let me know. In the meantime, I'll get on with my own things." Important. This is not retaliatory silence or ignoring him on your part. This is not playing the silent game on his terms. This is clearly setting a boundary. I will not participate in this manipulation. I will not beg for your attention. You refuse the role of a begging, humiliated victim. When he plunges into his icy silence, your life should not stop. Continue living your life. Do not cancel your plans. Communicate with friends and loved ones who support you. Engage in your hobbies, work, study. Show, first and foremost to yourself, that your world does not revolve around his mood. George Simon emphasizes that a manipulator loses his power if his actions do not produce the expected effect. If he sees that his silence doesn't paralyze you, doesn't make you crawl at his feet, but you continue to live a full life, it deprives him of his main leverage. Imagine his surprise when, instead of a tearful tormented you, he sees a woman calmly reading a book, laughing on the phone with a friend, or getting ready for a workout. This is a powerful response. Manipulative silence is an intense stressor. It depletes, exhausts, destroys. Therefore, your primary task is to take care of your emotional and psychological state. Find what helps you reduce stress: meditation, breathing practices, yoga, sports. Engage in creative activities. It's a great way to express your emotions and restore your resources. Communicate with people who understand and support you. Don't withdraw into yourself. If you feel you can't cope on your own, don't hesitate to seek help from a psychologist. Remember that metaphor? His silence is poison. Your task is to find an antidote for your soul. Don't let this poison toxify you from within. Your inner well-being is your priority. Let's say your partner has come out of his silence. It's very important not to pretend that nothing happened. If you just swallow it and rejoice that he's talking to you again, you give him the green light to repeat this tactic in the future. When he is ready to communicate, and if you yourself are ready by then, calmly, without accusations or hysterics, state that such behavior is unacceptable to you. Use I statements. When you are silent in response to my attempts to talk about a problem, I feel rejected, devalued, and very lonely. It's important to me that we can discuss our disagreements with words, not punish each other with silence. I am ready to listen to you, and I want to be heard. This behavior destroys the trust between us and causes me pain. I would like us to find other ways to resolve conflicts. Caution. Be realistic. If you are dealing with a chronic, convinced manipulator, as Simon writes extensively about, such a dialogue may be useless or even harmful. He might twist everything again, blame you, Start gaslighting. Assess the situation soberly. If you see that the person is not ready to admit the problem and change, perhaps it's time to move on to more radical measures. Sometimes, as painful as it is to admit, manipulative silence is not just a difficulty in a relationship. It is systemic psychological abuse that destroys you as a person. If you have tried all methods, but your partner does not change, if he continues to use silence as a tool of control and punishment, if your relationship has turned into endless torture, perhaps it is time to make a very difficult but necessary decision. The decision to distance yourself, or even to end such a relationship. Sometimes the strongest move in this game is to leave it. Your mental, emotional, and even physical health is priceless. And no one, absolutely no one, has the right to destroy it, even under the guise of offense or a difficult character. You deserve a relationship built on respect, trust, and open communication. My dears, silence can indeed be golden, but not when it becomes a weapon in the hands of a manipulator. Silence can be healing, but only if it is the silence of understanding, not the silence of contempt. You deserve relationships where you are heard, valued, and respected, where problems are solved through open and honest dialogue, not through the torture of icy silence. Remember the lessons of Dr. George Simon and other experts in the psychology of manipulation. Recognize covert aggressors. Don't let them control your emotions, your decisions, and your life. Learn to establish and defend your personal boundaries. You are strong, you are smart, and you deserve real, genuine happiness, not a substitute for which you have to pay with your soul. If this video was useful for you, if you recognized yourself or your situation, if it gave you food for thought or even a small push to action, please give it a like. This will greatly help other women who, perhaps right now, are suffering in silence to find this information and understand that they are not alone. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new in-depth analyses of important topics that will help you better understand yourself and build healthy relationships. And now I really want to hear from you. Have you encountered the silent treatment in your relationships? How did you react to it? What helped you cope with this situation? And what, on the contrary, aggravated it? Share your experiences, your thoughts, and feelings in the comments under this video. Let's create a space of support where everyone can find understanding and strength, because together we are a huge force. Take care of yourselves, value yourselves, and remember, your voice matters, your self matters. Don't let anyone or anything silence or devalue it. Until next time.